Howdy, everybody. Welcome to the Backbone Podcast, where common sense still makes sense in a world that is sick and only getting sicker, and it's sicker and sicker and sicker. This weekend, while Donald Trump and his boyfriend, Benjamin Netanyahu, were bombing a country that has not done a damn thing to the United States or the American people, and prove me wrong. Go ahead, try. While that was going on and all the MAGA people were celebrating the bombings of boats and cities and hospitals and buildings and the killing of this Khomeini guy and all that shit, here in the United States, in Austin, Texas, we had a massacre by the animal, well, not even an animal. Animals are God's creatures. This is vermin. This was I can't even say it's evil. I can't describe the garbage that this scum is. It just boggles the mind, man, that these people are in this country. But as of right now, local and federal officials continue to investigate the mass shooting that left 3 people dead, including the shooter, 14 others injured, in an area surrounding Buford's, a popular bar in Austin's West 6th Street Entertainment District. This happened early Sunday morning. Officials have identified the shooting suspect as Ndiaga Diagne, a Senegalese native who became a naturalized citizen in the year 2013. Thank you, Barack Hussein Obama. The 53-year-old was shot and killed by Austin police during the rampage that is now being investigated by the FBI as they call it, and I quote, possible act of terrorism. What else do you need? What else do you need to say, you know what, this is a terrorist act in the United States? What else? Do you need the guy to wear something that propagates that? Well, look at his shirt. Look at his hoodie. Property of Allah. Although the agency officials said it's too early to determine a motive, these people are retarded. Authorities disclosed that Diagne was wearing clothing that bore the image of an Iranian flag and the words "property of Allah." The shooting, which came one day after the U.S. and their friends Israel launched a joint attack on Iran, erupting just before 2 a.m. outside of Buford's bar on 700 block of West 6th Street. If you've ever been down there, it used to be lovely over there. It used to be beautiful down there. Authorities refuse to confirm any connection. I mean, what do you need? A building to fall on top of you? You don't think that there's any slither of evidence that there's some connection to this? I mean, how many of these attacks do you have to have? This is a country that is they're terrified, absolutely terrified of calling out Muslims, calling out Africans, blacks, whatever it is. They're terrified of being called racist or Islamophobic. Absolutely terrified. Law enforcement authorities have offered scant details about the shooter, I wonder why, who killed 2 college students and injured 14. Public records and interviews paint a picture of an elusive man who investigators say, and I quote, may have operated as a lone terrorist. Of course, if there's another horrible act in Los Angeles, in St. Louis, somewhere else in the country, will there be any connection to this? Will the authorities say, you know what, we might have a problem here? We've allowed these Senegalese and these Africans, sub-Saharan Africans, into this country, and they're all Muslim, and they're all guys, they're all men, and they all have access to guns because in this country we give anybody a gun. Because this is the land of opportunity. This is the land where you come in, you reap the benefits of welfare and social justice. You become a naturalized citizen and you offer nothing to the country. And you know what? As a thanks to that country from saving you from the shithole that you were born and raised in, you come in and you shoot and kill and murder 2 college students. That's the thanks that they get, that we get. According to authorities, Diagne's path to Austin began in the year 2000 when he came to the United States on a visa from Senegal. He became a legal permanent resident in 2006, although marriage and a naturalized citizenship came in 2013. Public records show Diagne married a woman, Asatu Savare, in March of 2012 and moved to San Antonio from the Bronx, New York in 2017. I'll take part of the L for that. Savare, who worked at one time as a Texas real estate agent, filed for divorce from Diagne, according to court records. Savare retained an attorney to represent her during the divorce. Diagne did not, and instead chose to represent himself, online records show. The divorce was finalized in September of 22, according to the Bexar County records, which indicate the couple's 2 sons are now 9 and 12 years old. So we're going to continue to pay for these vermin as the years go by. On Sunday, law enforcement breached a home in Plugverville as part of their investigation. They also breached a unit in a sprawling apartment complex in Del Valle, where Diagne is believed to have lived most recently. Well, there you have it. And we have some images here of, well, we'll show you the shootings first. This was something that could have been avoided. It honestly could have been avoided. Here is some footage from individuals that were there. It's absolutely horrifying. 2 minutes. Here we go.
We're good. Shit. Where is it? Close it. Hey, close the doors.
Here is some terrifying footage that you may have been inside the club here as people saved the Do we have to live like this? Is it the end game for us? Is this the new normal? What did we do to deserve this? I don't know. Here is the point where the shooter is killed by police. Here's the footage.
He's still shooting.
No, sorry, that's the wrong thing. I beg your pardon. That's the wrong footage there. I beg your pardon there. I messed that one up. So there you have it. Mass shooting leaves 3 dead, including the shooter. Suspect became a naturalized citizen in 2013. Diagne was wearing clothing that bore the image of an Iranian flag and words of property of Allah. Now, many people will say, hey, this guy's just crazy. You know, we can't label all Muslims or sub-Saharan Africans or Iranian supporters as crazy. Well, it all is a coincidence because the U.S. bombing of Iran, frankly, shows little evidence of an endgame. Framing the operation as a war of liberation, Donald Trump called on Iranians to take over your government. How? In the first days alone, Israel dropped over 2,000 bombs on Iranian targets, equal to half the tonnage of the 12-day Israel-Iran conflict in June of 2025. U.S. heavy bombing, meanwhile, has targeted Iran's Revolutionary Guard, as well as ballistic missiles and aerial defense sites. The destruction is real. We can see it. They're bombing the shit out of these people. But where is this? Where does it lead to? Historical records, history shows that as U.S. bombing campaigns aimed at regime change show that the gap between the two, the point at which we saw Afghanistan, we saw Iraq, we saw the Libya campaigns, they all stalled. These bombing campaigns are where wars die because the U.S. does not want to commit troops to the ground, and that's how you win wars. You can't win wars with aerial assaults. After a while, you're just dropping bombs on rubble. You have to put boots on the ground, and the Israelis don't have boots to put on the ground. It's going to have to be a U.S. effort. That's why this whole Greater Israel project, it's folly. It's a pipe dream for these people. Do they want it? Absolutely. And they're going to try everything to get it, but they're going to try everything to get it through the United States because they can't get it by themselves. They can't take over parts of Iraq, parts of Libya, parts of Lebanon, parts of Syria, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey, especially Turkey, without the help of the U.S. They can't do it. They don't have the people. They don't have the sophistication, the manpower. They don't have any of that stuff. Everything that they're doing now, all these bombs, the 2,000 bombs that they're dropping, all come from the United States. And history shows, decades and decades of studying history shows, dating back to World War I, using air power to force political change has established a constant finding. What is that? Bombing can degrade military capacity, yes. Destroy infrastructure, yes. But does it produce government, but it does not produce governments more cooperative with the attacker. You only enrage the people more. And the propaganda by the US and Israel is saying, well, the Israeli people are loving this. They're celebrating in the streets. How? They have bombs landing on their heads. If you want political outcomes, it requires political processes. It requires negotiation, institution building, a legitimate transfer of power. And there's not going to be that here. There's going to be a power vacuum where these nut jobs, just like in Afghanistan and Iraq and Vietnam, will come to power, and you're going to have a massive, massive terrorist state right in the middle of the Middle East. Bombs cannot create any of those things. Instead, they are reliable to create just destruction. And that destruction generates its own dynamics, rallying the population, radicalizing the population. As we said, power vacuums, and then ultimately it leads to cycles of retaliation. We saw this in 2003. George W. Bush launched the quote-unquote shock and awe in Iraq with the explicit aim of regime change. The military objective was achieved in weeks. The political objective was never achieved, ever. We were there, almost 20 years. Blood and treasure spent, absolutely nothing accomplished. The U.S. decision to disband the Iraqi army created a vacuum filled not by democratic reformers, but by sectarian militias, which eventually became something called ISIS. The regime that eventually emerged was not friendly to the United States. And it was deeply influenced by Iran. Our friend Barack Hussein Obama in 2011 led a NATO air campaign in Libya that quickly expanded from civilian protection into regime change. Muammar Gaddafi was overthrown and killed, but there was no plan for transition. There was chaos, political instability. And asked what was his quote-unquote worst mistake as president, Barack Obama admitted probably failing to plan for the day after. Libya today remains a failed state. And that's why all of these immigrants, all these vermin from the Middle East and sub-Saharan Africa, where are they coming from into Europe? They're coming from Libya. Gaddafi had dismantled his nuclear program in 2003. 8 years later, NATO destroyed his regime. There was no reason to do what they did. Zero. We can even go back to the 1990s in Kosovo. Often, like many things cited by the U.S. government or the U.S. military as a success story. 78 days of NATO bombings did not by themselves compel Milosevic, president of the Federal Republic of Yugoslavia, to withdraw. The only thing that changed was the credible threat of a ground invasion combined with Russia's withdrawal of diplomatic support. The political outcome, contested statehood, ongoing ethnic tensions, or a stable governance that air power advocates and promises. The pattern is consistent. The United States repeatedly confuses its unmatched capacity to destroy from the air with the ability to dictate political outcomes. This military is a one-trick pony. They are almost like the British of the British imperial years that relied solely on their navy. They had a third-rate ground army. They had to rely on coalitions, and they had to make all sorts of deals and backroom deals that eventually led to the empire falling apart. This is the same This is the same strategy the United States is having, but they have incredible air power, but you can't win wars this way. Yeah, you're going to blow the shit out of buildings and you're going to kill people and all that other good stuff, but you're not going to get whatever the United States wants. I don't know what they want. I don't know what they want here, but I will tell you this. Saturday morning, before we heard any of this Iran bombing, I was at the gas station. Gas was $2.87. Today, I went to the gas station. It's $3.54. That's the only accomplishment so far by the United States. This is why Donald Trump is a failure. This is why we need to become America only and stop with these useless, meaningless bombings and wars and military action. There's no reason for it. There's no call for it. And the recent attacks by the U.S. on Iran raise a fundamental question. What is the United States fighting for? Is it regime change? If that's the objective, justifying the campaign on the grounds of Iran's nuclear program and missile capabilities, that's fine. But it cannot be handled this way. And the United States will find itself, if it puts boots on the ground in Iran, they're going to find themselves getting again swallowed up in that fucking desert in the Middle East, and Israel will be nowhere to be found. It will be up to us, just like Iraq, just like Afghanistan, just like Vietnam, just like all of these goddamn wars. It will be left up to the United States, the children of the United States. And I'm sick of it. And you should be too. But it just seems to be a circle or a wheel. It just keeps going round and round and round. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares. Because we're all afraid to be called anti-Semitic. We're all afraid that God isn't going to love us anymore if we don't love the chosen people. If we don't die for the chosen people. Well, those days for me are well, they never existed, but they're long gone. They should be long gone for the rest of you. And that's my 2 cents. Thanks again for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Remember, my friends, Satan is always busy. We saw a dose of that this weekend. Be a man and have a backbone, because masculinity and common sense are worth standing up for. And remember, if it ends in an ism, it's a mental disorder. We'll see you later.